All right, here we go. Today's video we're going to be talking about time zones. And time zones are caused by the rotation of the Earth on its axis. And you guys ready? So here we go. The important line right here. This separates it from one day to the other. So if you go further to the west, if you ever went to China, you might have gone back a day, like kind of like back in time, but not really. Or if you come from China to the United States, you might have gained a day, calendar-wise, but not in reality. Kind of like if you ever gone to Hawaii or maybe a shorter distance to LA and you fly there, you get jet lag because the time difference is all off. Because you spent like maybe 3 hours on a flight, but then you come back and it's like only 30 minutes has passed because of the time zone. So this first line right here is called the International, anyone want to finish it? International Date Line. So that's the international date line. Depending upon the time of day, if you go past it to the west, you might lose a day. If you go past it to the east, you might gain a day. You're not actually gaining 24 hours, you're just changing the calendar time, essentially. All right. The other important line is right here at 0. This is the frame of reference, and we're going to call this universal time. And that's right in England, and it passes through Greenwich, England, so it's also called Greenwich time. Universal time, Greenwich time. So why does England get to be the frame of reference for the world? Well, back in the day, the English Empire, or the British Empire, was in control of the world. They had colonies all over the place, 1700s, early 1800s. And so they called the shots. They're the frame of reference. It was very English-centric. And we just kind of kept that system. Fun fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 time zones in the continental U.S., but if you include Alaska and Hawaii, we've got 5, 6, 6 to 7 time zones. China is as big as the U.S. How many time zones do you think they have? They have one time zone. Why would China have one time zone? Yeah, that's China. So in 1949, when the Communist Party took over China, they wanted to create unity. So they said all of China is going to be one time zone. But does that cause some problems? In the western province, sometimes the sun sets at midnight. That'd be kind of weird. We're going to be reading an article tomorrow on the, there's a Muslim minority population in the western province. They have their own time, partly because it's their feeling of independence. And there's a lot of different clashes. So it's an interesting article on that. There's actually some people who think we should have less time zones in the U.S. To make it more confusing, we got daylight savings time, which is supposed to save like energy, I guess. And in some states don't adhere to it, so that makes it even trickier. Wouldn't it be fun to live on the border of a time zone? Like maybe you live on one side and you work on the other. You probably need like 2 clocks. Or you just get used to subtracting an hour or adding an hour. All right. Moving on. Speaking of transferring between time zones, if you're going east, yeah, you're gonna add. You got it. So, but let's think about this. Let's pretend it's New Year's Eve, and you're watching the ball drop on New York City, but you're here in Oconomowoc. So the ball drops in New York City. What time is it here in Oconomowoc? 11 o'clock. You got it. A lot of us know that from experience. So as you go west, you subtract. So it's midnight in New York, but you're going west, so you're going to subtract an hour. So 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. All right, so let's say it's finally midnight here in Oconomowoc. But we want to stay up and see the casino get imploded in Las Vegas for their midnight celebration. So, how late are we going to have to stay up? Las Vegas is right here in the West Coast time zone. It's midnight here. Oh, what was it? 1 o'clock? Well, let's go here. Let's say, okay, it's midnight for Las Vegas right here. We're going to have to add 1, 2. So midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So it'll be 2 in the morning. So you'd have to stay up pretty late to see that casino get imploded. All right. Anybody been to Hawaii? Been to Hawaii? All right, nice. So big time zone difference. What time is it right now? It is 10. Let's just say it's 10:30. So if it's 10:30 right now, we want to figure out, all right, what time is it in Hawaii? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say it's the Big Island. So I'm subtracting because I'm going west. So what's 4 hours? Is it really 4 hours? Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's closer than I thought. Yeah, 4 hours. So is it 9:35? No, it's 10:35 minus 4, 6. Yeah, 6:35 or 6:30. We're saying it was 10:30. So it's like 10:30 now, but it's like super early in Hawaii. The sun is barely up. All right. Let's say Beijing. It's that's on the eastern coast of China, and it's 10:30 right now. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're 10 hours earlier than us. So what time is it in China, Beijing? It's 10:30 now. 12:36 a.m. Did we lose a day in this case? Not quite, because the day starts at 12 o'clock a.m., midnight. So in this case, we didn't lose a day. So China is still, whatever day today is. Oh my gosh. The 30th. All right, September 30th. Oh, we dated the video now. All right. So it's September 30th in China also. Well, let's change that. Let's say it was 6 o'clock in the morning here. All right. So the sun's just rising. And 10 hours before that would be, is that 8 o'clock? So it would be 8 o'clock p.m. But do we just lose a day, kind of? Calendar-wise, we did. It's 8 o'clock yesterday, essentially. So it's the 29th of September, if it was 6 o'clock now. But currently, Beijing is in September 30th. Let's go the other way. Let's say we're here in Oconomowoc, and we want to see what time is it in England. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and we're going east, so we add. So it's 10:30 here. 6 hours later is 4:30. So it's 4:30 p.m. People are starting to come home from work. All right. Fun times. That's time zones caused by the Earth rotating on its axis. Oh, anyone curious why we got some shaded marks here? So the shaded marks means it's a difference of 30 minutes, the 30-minute time zones. So why would they have that? It just depends upon the various governments and the local communities. But let's do an example. Let's say there's Miami, and on the other side of Florida is Tampa. So they're a distance away. Tampa's further west than Miami. If we're talking about the Earth's rotation, how many degrees does it rotate in one day? Like if you're skateboarding and you do a full circle, what is that? 360. So the Earth does a 360 daily. And thinking about that, we have how many hours in a day? There's 24. So 360 divided by 24, that means it rotates 15 degrees every hour. But it would be 0 degrees here, and then on the other side of the time zone, it would be 15 degrees. So a lot of like weather forecasters, people that are projecting the time at which the sun sets, which is like 7:35, I think today it'll set. Let's say it sets at 7:35 in Miami. They're going off of Miami. But in Tampa, is it going to set at 7:35? No, it's going to set at like 7:42 or 7:45, a little bit later. So you can't always believe what you hear on TV or in the newspaper, because it's not always the case. They're using a specific frame of reference, so it might be off by a few minutes, depending upon where you're located. So we'll do some practice problems on that tomorrow. So, all right, that is time zones.